Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, my name is Ben Thomas, and you're watching Combat Sports UK. Today, I'm joined by Denis Frimpong, who collides with Jan Siroky this weekend at OKTAGON 52 in Newcastle. Firstly, Denis, the most important question of the day. How are you doing? How are you feeling? How is life treating you at the moment?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. We're 6 days away now from fight day. 5 days from me being able to eat a load of carbs again. So yeah, I'm good. You know, to be honest, it's the 2 weeks before the fight that kind of are a bit like, oh, let me just get there already. You know, you feel that like I just want to get there. I'm ready. You know, but I've peaked well. Camp's gone well. Weight's all good. I'm still eating pretty good. And yeah, you know, I'm just excited to go put on a performance for the Octagon fans, for the UK MMA fans, and for the Irish MMA fans most of all. I think so far none of the Irish fighters that have been signed on Octagon have ever gotten a win. You know, so I'll be the first Irish fighter to get a professional win on Octagon MMA. So I'm excited for that.
That's always a good start. I mean, after weigh-ins are done, what is the first thing you're going to eat? I just need to throw that out there because I'm just nosy, to be honest with you.
It's quite scientific. So first of all, like I don't eat straight away. I'll drink me fluids first. You know, I'll get me first like 2 liters of fluids in first, and then I'll start having little snacks of like some jelly beans or something like that, just to get the carbs in. Simple carbs, nice, easy to digest. And then start slowly building my way into like, you know, the likes of like a bagel or, you know, stuff like that. And then eventually I'll have like my big meal a bit later on down the line.
I was expecting you to say something like a Domino's, but before we discuss your upcoming bout on Saturday night, I just want to touch on the experience of you being on the Octagon Challenge. How did the opportunity actually come about for you to be on the show? Did they approach you, or did you think, you know what, this one's mine, I can have some fun?
They came looking for me. They were scouting fighters. They come to my gym, Manchester Top Team, and they also got into my manager. So it's a bit of a two-pronged assault, to be honest, on me. They knew the personality I am. They knew they needed me on the show. So they came to me, and I willfully obliged. I said it'd be a good fit. It'd be a nice experience, get away out of the country for a couple of weeks in summer, and have a few knocks and live with the guys I'm going to have a knock with. But to be fair, I probably look back. I probably wouldn't do something like that again. Like maybe the Ultimate Fighter, but like even then, I don't think I'd even want to do the Ultimate Fighter. That's like 6 weeks, mate, and I'd end up fucking either killing someone myself or someone would end up trying to kill me in my sleep or something, you know what I mean?
How did you actually find living with them? Was that just a strange experience?
I think it was more so how they found living with me, to be honest. But yeah, it is a strange experience, mate. Like, you know, even a cage fight itself, like an organized cage fight, is a strange experience as it is. You know, it's an experience that less than 1%, maybe 0.5% of people on the planet will ever experience. You know, a lot of men have been in a fight at some point in their lives, but I think a lot of the time violence happens at random. You know, it doesn't. It's not like an organized thing where like this date, this time, this place, we're both gonna get ready and we're gonna like walk out in our underwear in front of thousands of people in front of our family and then have a fight in front of bright lights with a referee there in a cage. So it's a bit of a mad experience as it is. Adding the fact then that you have to live with the guys and sort of socialize with them and like be in like that kind of environment. It was a bit strange, mate, to be honest. But yeah, I felt like I thrived in it quite well. You know, none of it got to me really. I think, as I said, I got to them more than they got to me.
Whilst working on the show, you got to work under Shamrock and Paddy Houlihan. As a Manchester Top Team athlete, you are used to working with some of Europe's best anyway. But how was it maybe working with guys that you weren't used to and those that could maybe offer you a fresh insight on your game and someone else's?
So Shem had actually already cornered 3 of my fights up until that point. He cornered me on my first 2 amateur fights ever, and then he cornered me in my fight against Solomon Simon as well, which was like, I don't want to say my breakout fight, but it was like my first big test against like a really good guy where like I beat an experienced guy, much more experienced than me. You know, he had 16 fights or something at the time. I was on like my fourth fight. I was 3-2. He was like 8-8 or something. And he'd like competed for Ireland, the IMAFs and stuff like that. Solomon. He's a good kid. Shout out Solomon Simon. You know, he's on Cage Warriors, signed to Cage Warriors now. He's on a three fight win streak, I think, as a pro. Um, but yeah, he's cornered me before, and I trained with him all through COVID. I actually started MMA, to be honest, probably because of Shem. Like he was a big factor in it. You know, meeting him during COVID when I was just a jiu-jitsu guy, you know, and all jiu-jitsu gyms were shut. I'd been training a bit of Thai just because I wanted something to do, and they were the only ones doing some stuff in secret. And met Shem through chance, and then ended up bringing him to the gym, and he we trained together. He showed me some MMA stuff, showed me how basically to use jiu-jitsu in MMA, and advised that, you know, I go into it instead of paying like 60 to 100 quid to do a jiu-jitsu tournament. You can get paid to fight an MMA fight. And to be honest, mate, I think as much as I love the jiu-jitsu scene and I love competing jiu-jitsu, it didn't tickle the itch enough for me, you know. Like I enjoy the violence. I enjoy being able to punch someone in the face, you know, and that limiting factor of not being able to hit someone or slam someone or, like, you know, just unleash all the tools of combat was a bit of a holdback for me. So yeah. So I had experience working with him, and then Paddy as well. Obviously, Paddy's an experienced guy, you know, an MMA legend in Ireland, one of the pioneers of Irish MMA, and a really good general, you know, in terms of like holding the team together, and his philosophy, and just taught me a lot, even outside of fighting, even just in life and in politics. Obviously, he's a politician as well. He taught me a lot about politics. We had a lot of really deep, we'll say, red pill discussions while we were in the dressing room and while we were hanging out, having food and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was an excellent team to have. I had a bit of an advantage over most of the fighters in there, and that, like, again, I had been cornered by Shem, and Shem knew my style, and I trained with him. So yeah, it was excellent that way.
You just mentioned there that Shem might have been one of the reasons why you actually got into the sport in the first place. When you knew that it was going to be him coaching you, was that kind of a moment that was like a whole loop of like, whoa, I'm here now. He's the reason I'm kind of here in a way. Was that kind of a moment for you that made you think, oh,
Um,
this is
so I knew he was coaching on the show before I fully decided to do the show. And that was a big part of why I did it. I was like, well, I'm gonna have an advantage having him there. You know, he's a perfect body for me as well. He's my weight. He's about my size. He's a good grappler. I think he's like a big part of like the antithesis of what I do in my MMA style. You know, he's a like takedown, hold you down grappler. And I'm more like anti-grappler now, striker. Despite the fact that I come from a jiu-jitsu background, and yeah, so it was a big factor in me doing it. And then obviously with Paddy, I think with Paddy it was more of a full circle moment, because I think obviously watching him in the first ever UFC held in Ireland, he got the first ever win um on the UFC card in Ireland. And I remember watching that, like, I think I'd maybe just started doing jiu-jitsu, or like it was maybe just before I'd started, but yeah, it was around that time. I think it was just before I started doing jiu-jitsu, but I was following MMA a bit, you know, following Conor McGregor and this kind of stuff. So yeah, being there and coaching me and, like, you know, singing my praises in my skill set, and telling me what a talented fighter I am and how good I am was a big full circle moment for me, more so than anything. Obviously Shem being there was a bonus as well, and us getting just to be there together, you know, just be like almost like on a bit of a lads holiday. But we have a few scraps, you know what I mean? And obviously I was cutting weight the whole time I was there because I had to stay on weight, which sucked, but it is what it is, you know.
And then obviously in the final of the competition, you took on George Staines. It was quite a tough night in the office for yourself. But since then, you've had a bit of time to reflect on that loss. From your perspective, looking back, how do you view that fight now?
Um, would you call that a fight? I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't call it a fight myself. I'd call it more of a wrestling match than anything. But yeah, obviously it didn't go my way on the night. He was a better man on the day. I still believe that given the right circumstances, I can beat George. He is good. He was better than I gave him credit for, even just myself. But I think you have to have supreme confidence in yourself going into a fight, or otherwise, why are you fighting? Um, but yeah, he definitely exposed a few holes in my game to me. I think to a lot of people, they'll watch that fight and think that there's holes in my game that no longer exist. Um, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I got a loss. I got, three and a half, 4 rounds in the bank. I know that, going into that fourth round, I wasn't mad tired. So I know I can do a 5 round fight. I'm fit for 5 rounds. And yeah, I also hit a pretty nice judo throw on him in the midst of that fight in the third round. So maybe my wrestling isn't as bad as it is, because I know he's a high level wrestler. That's his thing, innit? But again, I wouldn't say that it was a fight. I think if we had a fight, it would have been a lot closer than it was. Just given the fact that I probably would have pinged him up on the feet, and I think he knows that, which is why he shot for me leg straight away.
Does taking a loss in that manner kind of motivate you to get back in the gym and motivate you to maybe sharpen your skill set?
I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I'll be frank with you. The first 2, 3 weeks after the loss, obviously I was a bit banged up after the fight. Um, you know, uh, I had a cut and stuff like that. And it was a long camp and a long year. I'd pretty much been in camp all year. Had my pro debut in February, and then had another one in April, and then had the show, and then obviously was in camp straight after the show for the George fight. So, um, yeah, it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks I had off after the fight. Just reflecting, as you said, and getting to see me mates and getting to do like normal things that I can't do when I'm in camp, and I didn't get to do all year. Um, so yeah, it was. I had a bit of time off, and then the whole way through, the motivation was never gone. Like I say, I know the level that George is at, and for me to go in there and fight a guy like that this early in my career, it'll only benefit me in the long run. And this isn't a sprint; it's a marathon. It's a sequence of marathons, because it's a marathon. You get to the end, and then it's another marathon, and then it's another marathon. The journey doesn't stop when you get to the UFC. The journey doesn't stop when you get the UFC belt. The journey stops when you're the greatest of all time. You've achieved everything you can do, and your name is cemented in MMA history.
Well, that is one hell of a quote right there. I absolutely love it. But as I mentioned at the start of our conversation, you collide with veteran Jan Siroky this Saturday at Octagon 52. What do you think of your opponent? What have you maybe seen of your opponent, and what do you expect him to bring come fight night?
I think he's a short, stocky midget. He's experienced. People are saying it's a bit of a mismatch. But look, he's what, 13 and 16. I'm 0 and 2. So basically, he's 0 and 3. And I'm 0 and 2. And yeah, he has a lot of experience. He has a lot of experience of losing as well. He has 16 losses, and there's no man alive who's lost a 16 man that I can't beat. That's just I cannot not beat that guy. I will simply make that number 17 on his record. He's getting on a bit in years. He's 34. He has miles on him. He has a wife and family, and a job outside of MMA. And this is all I do. I don't train the army. I don't, I'm not a driver in the army. I don't have a family. I don't have all that. This is my life. So I think that will show the difference in our mindsets, and in our how deep we are in the game will show come Saturday night.
So during both of your careers, you've kind of both accumulated both submission victories and KO/TKO victories. Where do you expect him to take the fight on Saturday night, and where do you expect yourself to get the better of your opponent?
I think he will have a bit more balls than George, and he'll actually try and have a fight with me at the start. Once he realizes within the first minute or two that I'm too good on the feet, I'm too long, I'm too rangy, he will shoot for the legs. I believe I'm a better grappler than him and a better striker than him. So if he wants to shoot for the legs, he can try that all he wants. Um, when was the last time he knocked anyone out? I think he has a few TKO victories in the last while and a couple of decisions, but he hasn't knocked anyone out in a long time. I've knocked two people out. in the last 18 months. And I haven't submitted anyone in a while, so maybe I'll try and submit the guy, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm looking for a knockout as usual. There's nothing that gets that adrenaline flowing like a KO. So I'm looking to do something spectacular on this night.
You just mentioned it slightly a moment ago, but on paper, due to both records, many would say this is a potential mismatch. He's obviously 12 and 16, so veteran in the game. You're obviously 0 and 2, and at the start of your career. What would you say to those people that do believe it is a slight mismatch?
Um, they don't know shit about fighting. That's what I'd say to them. I've been in mismatches before, as I mentioned. Solomon Simon was probably a mismatch, and I beat him quite soundly. Um, Hassan on the show was probably a mismatch, and I knocked him out in the second round. Um, so yeah, I think honestly, I don't believe that this guy has the skill set to beat me. As far as I'm concerned, the only person that's ever actually beaten me in a fight is George. Yeah, because he finished me. Only all the other losses I have from amateur through pro were decision losses and calling a spade, bullshit decision losses. You can go watch them. They're all on YouTube. I think my pro debut's on Fight Pass, UAE Warriors, Africa. Um, yeah, that one was a robbery, and then there was a couple close fights in my amateur days. Maybe not robberies, but definitely wasn't outmatched. Could have gone either way, split decision kind of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's I can't see how this guy's going to beat me. George is a level ahead of Jan Siroky. Like he's not Jan Siroky's not on the same level as George, and even George took 4 rounds to beat me. He took 4 rounds to finish me. So I just can't see how this guy's going to get the job done. There isn't really any route to victory for him.
So, if and when you get your hand raised on Saturday night, when can we expect to see you back in the cage? How does your 2020 to 24 look like? Are you looking for maybe a quick turnaround and a busy schedule for this year, or a bit of time off?
I
Maybe?
will have I will have a busy schedule this year, and I just have to have a busy schedule to put all the naysayers to rest. And just shut them up a little bit. Just let them know what's up. I do a lot of talking, and I want to show that. I want to back that chat up. I think it's kind of bullshit that I had 5 professional fights last year, and somehow my record's 0-2. So I want to know where those other 3 fights went that I won. So Topology, sort that out. But yeah, I'm looking to stay active this year. As long as I'm healthy, I'm gonna be active. And yeah, we'll see. Once I finish this guy, I'll make my decision on who and what I want to do next. But obviously, Octagon will have to have a big say in that. They are the promotion I fight for. But there's a lot of meat in that lightweight division, and I'm a hungry predator.
So clearly, you're not shy of calling out a potential future opponent. You are looking to shut down the doubters. Do you have anyone in mind? Is there anyone that you would like to shut up?
Yeah, there's a few people that I wanted to call out, to be honest. Two of them actually legged it down to featherweight. Um, so they obviously had some intel that I was going to call them out. Um, you know, but it is what it is. I'll fight. I'll fight. There's still, as I said, there's a lot of meat in the division, and I'll figure out who I'm going to go for next. But you're just gonna have to tune in on Saturday after the fight, when I'm full of adrenaline and I'm full of that win buzz. I'm sure I'll have some exciting things to say for everyone.
I'm absolutely looking forward to that interview post fight. But finally, for those out there who maybe haven't seen you fight before, what can they expect to see when you step into the cage at Octagon 52 on Saturday night?
If you haven't seen me fight before, then where the fuck have you been? Realistically, go on my YouTube channel. Go scour Denis Frimpong MMA on YouTube. Go look up my fights. It's never boring. The only boring fight I've ever had was George, and I lost that fight because he just held me. So yeah, go watch my fights, and you'll see what you're gonna expect. Violence, a vast array of weapons, a big arsenal of tools that I can use at my disposal, and I'm always going for the finish. So
That is one way to sell a fight. Let me tell you that. I'm so looking forward to the fight on Saturday. But Dennis, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me on, lad. Yeah.
No worries. It's been a pleasure, and we'll catch up after the fight. But ladies and gentlemen, you can catch Denis taking on Siroky on Saturday night on Octagon 52. You can check out his socials on the screen now, so make sure to give him a follow and make sure to follow Combat Sports UK. Until next time, thank you very much for watching and goodbye.
Nice one, lad.
Lovely.